Hello there, how are you? Welcome back. Well, I thought I'd give you all an update on the bees since I have completed the split. We're about at the 10 to 12 day marker. Now, as some of you may remember, I had queen cups and queen cells last week. They have since hatched out. You can see all the bottoms are open on the bottom of these queen cells. I even slowed this down coming up here in slow motion so you could see right here on this one. So the queens in both of the hives have hatched and they've gone out for their initial breeding flight. So the plan for today's video is to go in and do a hive inspection on both hives to see if they're queen right, if I have new brood, blah, 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 blah. And as you can see, they're still coming up into the flow frame. So I'm actually going to do an inspection on the flow frame as well as the main hive body down here at the bottom. So I'm in here and looking, and I am just so disappointed. I have pollen, I have nectar galore, but I have no brood in the bottom box. So now it is time for me to go ahead and get into the flow frames just to make sure that my queen, when she came back from her flight, she didn't go up into the flow frames, because when they come back they're still kind of skinny and small, so even though I had the queen excluder on there, she could still sneak through. So that's what the idea is here, for me to come up into my flow frames to see if she came up here, if I have any brood. And I'm not necessarily looking for her at this point. I was straight up looking for brood, and there is no brood whatsoever in the bottom deep or in the flow frames up here on the top. So I'm going to go ahead, reassemble, put all this together, maybe try to find a bred queen. You know, right now the dragonflies have all hatched out, and bees are a delicacy for dragonflies. She could have very easily gotten eaten, and I'm just out of luck. So now we're going to look at this one and see if this hive is queen right. Again, this is where I did the split. I put queen cells in both hives. I did an inspection on both hives. The queen cells had opened up, showing that the queens, the new hatch queens, had flown away. So now we'll see if we have a queen in here. So what again I'm looking for here is brood. And because this was the smaller hive of the two, I actually had that feeder in there. So now I'm pulling the feeder out because these bees look really wonderful. I'm going ahead and I'm waxing up these old frames, and I'm going to go ahead and just slide them down in there. From all initial presentation on this, this looks like the queen made it back. But the truth will be in the pudding when we go ahead and we pull these frames out. We take a look-see and see if we have new brood, cap brood, brood in different phases of development in here. Drum roll. Yes, I'm narrating over this, so I actually know what the outcome is. Actually, this hive is queen right. I'll just do a little spoiler alert for you there. And I don't know why I went ahead and put those wax frames in there. I should have left them out. That way I would have left myself with a little bit more room to work. But it was simple enough. This first frame here was really hodgepodge build out. I'm not too happy with their work, and once I get myself a couple more frames, I'll probably go ahead and pull this, scrape it, put it back in, and let them go ahead and clean it up. So I'm pulling out one of the empty frames, smart, so I can go ahead and just give myself a little bit of room. That way I come across my queen, I don't end up rolling her or killing a bunch of other bees as well. The other thing I'm doing is I'm actually letting this play out real time so you can see how long it takes to actually just do a visual inspection. Just know that you don't have to go out and spend hours with your bees. You know, once you get them established and the colonies are doing well, they're bringing in tons of nectar, honey, all of that good stuff, and you know that everything is copacetic within the hive. You don't have to go out there every week and inspect. Once a month would be totally sufficient, especially once the flow's on. Now, once you get into a dearth, when you go in here, you want to, well, I won't come out with bare legs like I'm doing here. I'll actually put on my full bee suit, only because these girls, they get kind of stinky when you messing with them and they don't have a food source readily available. And that's actually when I set up my queen feeder. I set up my bee feeders as well. Right now they're out, but they're empty. There's no reason for me to have them filled up because there is a flow on. I mean, I should have filmed overhead. Just this tree that I'm underneath here is just buzzing overhead where the girls are going straight up and hitting the little flowers and the pollen sources and the nectar source off of the tree overhead. And you go under the oak trees and they are just hitting the oak trees super heavy as well. Again, I'm queen right. I'm actually just taking the time. I am trying to spot my queen, but I suck at that. And because this is a fresh virgin queen, she's not going to be super large. So again, my learning curve kicks in. Remember, rookie beekeeper here. I'll own it. Yes, I will. But I am trying to spot her. There's a couple of drone in here, but for the most part, they're all about building their workforce and getting their resources and stuff brought in. So this queen's not even laying drone brood. I think I saw maybe 2 or 3 drone brood on the frames. So here we have like a half a frame. So there is probably total 5 solid frames with brood in the center and the resources doing the rainbow over the top, or that arch over the top. Went ahead, made sure any of the bare frames that I had, I went ahead and re-waxed them. I know a lot of people dip their frames in wax. I just take a wax crayon. It's actually 100% organic beeswax. And I just scrape it over the frames just to kind of draw them in. I did the same thing with my flow frames before I put my flow frame on the top of the other hive in years past. Everything looks absolutely fantastic in here. I think I saw 1 hive beetle total between the 2 hives. Alrighty then. I want to thank you all for stopping by. Have an absolutely wonderful and blessed week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.